an exact representation, maybe sometimes a little bit over the top because it's comedy, of what Hollywood has become. The whole art versus money thing, the IP. I mean, Kool-Aid movie, like, I think that was like such a fine parody of what really Hollywood has
Hmm.
become, and to be able to be part of that industry and make the hell out of fun out of it on the actual sets, were there a lot of laughs? Like, were people like kind of like, oh, are we pushing to the boundaries too much? Or, what was that environment like?
It was wonderful. I mean, um, yeah, I mean, it's a testament to Seth and Evan. Like, they've just been in this business for so long. They knew how I mean, they've been collecting these stories for years. Like, it's why it feels so authentic. It's like every one of these stories is something that either happened to them or happened to a friend of theirs or something like that. Um, but they also just, yeah, they created a great set. I mean, there was constant laughter. It's hard work. Like, sometimes you're,
Yeah.
there at 3 in the morning doing a night shoot and everyone, is just miserable. But, like, there's also a ton of laughter. It never felt it, it there was never like a moment where it felt like, we're doing something like wrong, or like there was this. It's funny, the first episode sort of climaxes with this scene where Charlie's Theron is having a party, and Martin Scorsese, is crying, and the episode was written to end there. It
Uh,
was written to end at the end of that party, as they scurry off, and Martin Scorsese is crying. And it was like the one time we're making the show where we were like, that doesn't feel right. Like, this show is not about just like being a wrecking ball and making people cry. It's about these guys that they're trying. They're
yeah.
trying their best. They're screwing up left and right, but what it comes back to ultimately is love of movies. And so they're doing it because they love movies. They're not doing it to be to ruin people's lives. I think, which is actually something that Chase says in episode 3. Um, and so they added the scene where it's just like Seth and Ike are just watching Goodfellas together at the end. And it's like nothing really happens in that scene. It's sort of a funny way to end the episode because, like, there's not like a huge laugh. It's sort of like there's not like any big plot thing that happens. It's just two guys who love movies watching a movie that they love. Um, but it just felt right. It felt like this is what the show is. This is the feeling of the show, and so, yeah, it was like the only time when we were like, something feels wrong, and then I was really happy with how they kind of fixed that or righted that ship.
Nice. That's nice. Nice of you to tell me that. I just thought, I don't know if this was intentional in the script or not, but when you have that scene where Scorsese and Charlize Theron are in the background and he's just kind of crying,
Mm-hmm.
I just thought it was interesting because she is tall
Yeah.
and he is not your average height. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that juxtaposition in the background, even though it was
Yeah.
the depth of, I thought that was brilliant. I don't know, again, I don't know if it was in the script like that or it just spoke so much.
Yeah, I think it was in the script like that, and yeah, and Adam, who our DP, who is responsible for sort of like a lot of where the camera, almost all the where the camera ends up. I love the way he kind of built that where the camera where we sort of like follow the guys in profile to the bar, and the camera swings around. You see in the background. Yeah, there's a ton of because you can't like cut to a shot of them hugging, and like all those shots have to be so well designed where you're seeing all the
Yeah.
pieces that you need to see, and he just did an amazing job with that.
Yeah, it's all about a choreography, right? The entire,
Yeah,
I mean, every show and movie is, but this is just another level because the way you guys executed everything. Um,
it's
and
just one thing about that. It was just like,
please,
we
please,
Seth, Evan, Seth was often on set in the scene. Evan Goldberg and I were often sitting behind the camera, behind the monitors, and so we would just see what the camera was seeing. We wouldn't see what was going on set. Um, and there's a shot in episode 3, the Ron Howard scene where it starts in Seth's
Yeah.
office, and there's just like a little like chessboard in the foreground, and the camera kind of like moves up towards Seth. And we're like, oh, that's nice, you know. Adam found a nice little way to start the scene, you know. And then like at one point, like we like poke our head just like into the set, and we see there's like 5 guys like manipulating the camera around this chessboard. Like one guy kind of lifting it up, another guy clipping it onto a steady, you know, with like, and it's just like, it was amazing. It was like just to see this simple little thing and all the work that goes into it. And every one of those scenes is like that. It's like, you know, there's, I think Apple's posted some like behind the scenes videos, but just like, you know, like a camera that's on a Steadicam that gets hooked to a crane to follow them up the stairs, and then gets hooked to another Steadicam, and then gets passed to another, you know. It's like the choreography is just amazing.